one hand, it might be a paper tiger, a means of formally institutionalizing official inaction. One, on the other, it might offer a real possibility of power being taken from the international team and placed in more assiduous hands. Would the committee merely serve to cosmeticize further delays? Or did it possess both the authority and the will to do something constructive about the existing situation? Among the individuals making up the committee were two members of the Israeli Department of Antiquities, Amir Drury, the department's head, and Mrs. Ayala Suzman Begant had arranged initially to speak with Drury on his arrival at the Department of Antiquities. However, he was urged to speak instead with Mrs. Suzman, who presided over the sub-department in charge of the Qumran texts themselves. Drury, in other words, had a number of matters on his plate. Mrs. Suzman's activities were focused more specifically on the scrolls. The meeting with Mrs. Suzman took place on 7th November 1989. She clearly and perhaps understandably regarded it as an unwelcome intrusion on her already busy schedule, while being scrupulously polite. She was also, therefore, impatient, dismissive, and vague, vouchsafing few details, endeavouring to get the conversation over with as soon as possible. Begant was also, of course, polite, but it proved necessary for him to become tiresomely insistent, conveying the impression that he was prepared to wait in the office all day, unless some answers to his queries were forthcoming. Eventually, Mrs. Suzman capitulated. Bacon's first questions concerned the formation and purposes of the Oversight Committee. Mrs. Suzman at that point apparently regarding her interviewer not as a researcher with some background in the subject, but as a casual journalist skating on the surface of a story imprudently confided that the committee had been formed to deflect. Criticism from the Department of Antiquities. In effect, Begant was given the impression that the committee had no real interest in the scrolls themselves, but was merely a species of bureaucratic screen. What was its nominally official role. Begad asked, and how much actual authority did it exercise? Mrs. Sussman remained vague. The committee's job, she said, was to advise the Amin Drury, director of the Department of Antiquities, in his dealing with Professor Strugnell, chief editor for any publication of Qumran material. The committee intended, she added, to work closely with Strugnell across and other members of the international team towards what the Department of Antiquities felt an obligation. Some, she declared, have gone very far.